What's different about niche rentals is that you're focusing on a group. So that part's easy. That's your client base instead of all of Craigslist. You really got it narrowed down and you kind of know what there's people are looking for. And in general, if you're part of that group, you're going to go to the person who's serving you the most for your budget. And that can actually address some needs in addition to housing so that you have like a value deal. The value proposition is really strong that way. So that's what's different. And once you get that market and you really know those customers, then you will have other people coming to you, and you'll have so many people coming to you that you know you can go out and get another rental to service them. That's what it's all about. It's different than you just thinking about what your financial freedom number is, what your rat race number is, and trying to buy enough rentals for that and hoping and just servicing anyone off of Craigslist. That's what's different about it. Okay. And so we'll probably keep going over these questions to see who else shows up. Got a small group. So any burning questions? Just really kind of curious about what is this all about and what I'm going to talk about. So this is Q&A. I'm answering your questions, but some other general questions are, what's the profit difference? Why is it worthwhile? And the profit difference is because if you are in a, say, a Class C or Class D neighborhood, where it's a little tougher neighborhood, well, people have their own set of issues, their own set of problems. And what you're doing is you're creating a platform for them to alleviate some of the problems together by living together. For example, veterans or disabled veterans, which have social workers, and they also have maybe some mobility issues, and they also are on a fixed income. Well, they can enjoy a far better lifestyle if they're working together and sharing expenses. They can get better cable service, better maid service, just live more affordably. Possibly not even they may not even need a whole entire house. By just having a room and sharing a bathroom, they can get a lot better lifestyle for what they have. So that's one example. Same thing with single mothers with newborns. Just having someone around to watch their child and co-opting that way, childcare is a big relief. Having other small babies to play with is a big relief. So by co-housing makes a lot of sense. You can definitely service that need. Things like that for the in Class C, Class D neighborhoods. It goes on and on. The list is endless. One thing I threw out in my email to you guys was that dads that are divorced, not me, I'm still happily married, but dads that are divorced are going through some financial crisis, and they will sleep on anyone's sofa. So that's why co-housing for them in lower income neighborhoods is good, because they can reduce their expenses. All they want is a safe place and a clean bed to sleep on. So that's what's going on. Hey, we got some new people joining us. Hello, Al Williamson. We are talking about niche rentals. So go ahead and chime in or hit me in the chat box. Let me know if you have any questions. I definitely want to answer all your questions. We're talking about niche rentals and the benefits of serving a group instead of everyone on Craigslist. That's what's different about niche rentals, is there's always a particular need that you're creating a housing system or a housing platform for. It's a way of helping people reduce their expenses and actually increasing your income by sharing in some of that savings. If that's much different than raising rents. So that's one of the benefits of it. What I want to do is hear about your situations and hear if we can brainstorm some things, but don't want you guys to be shy. You got a free brainstorming session, and Happy to help out. It's actually pretty fun. I like brainstorming. Okay, go ahead and chime in. It's just me. You guys know me. Okay, some other questions my wife had, since you guys are making me talk to myself, is how long does it take to actually see a profit this way? And that's a pretty open-ended question. So if it's a Class A neighborhood and you can just jump in with some high-level corporate housing, then the time barrier, the choke point is really building that relationship with that company that's your target. And you can find that company by taking a map and drawing some circles like a mile out away from your rental or 2 miles out and seeing which businesses or who falls in that. And again, you're trying to create a housing platform for them to choose you instead of a hotel. If there's a extended stay hotel, or if you've ever been in a hotel for more than 30 days, you know what I'm talking about. It's not a great feeling. The shininess wears off the first week, and you just want out of there. That's where us landlords can play in a strong way. Is taking those people a month longer need a place to stay, even if you've just stay with your friends, your best friend, for a month. You know how that wears on your nerves. You need your own place. So again, housing on demand for a particular group in Class A and B neighborhoods, I think is an unbeatable opportunity for us. In fact, one of the owners of Airbnb was commenting on that's 10% of their business, these extended stays or long-term sublease type of situations. And he thought it was growing to 15% of their business. So it is an emerging market and definitely a different way to operate. But if you're in Class C neighborhood, then of course those options aren't for you. People need to feel safe in your neighborhood, and the people who feel safe are people from that neighborhood. They have had time to acclimate. That's one thing that's interesting, that you can get used to just about anything if you're around it long enough. So those people who are around it will get used to the tagging or the litter, whatever type of petty crimes are going on. They're comfortable with it. So if you can find a way for them to leverage their dollars through your housing, you have some opportunities there.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Al. This is Eunice. If you don't have any rentals, what would be the best thing for a starter?
For a starter, with no rentals
Yeah,
and
right.
wow. So for a niche rental point, it would be there's many ways you can do this. One thing is your own network. If you have a network and you know people whose sister-in-law, brother-in-law is coming to town every once in a while, or if you're in a good neighborhood, then you want to use that relationship to start housing them. Get that in line. Once you have the client, then everything else falls in line. If you can steal someone who's coming at a hotel, then it's easy to find anyone to give you money to buy a rental from there. For if you know their trend and you feel confident in that. Now, if you are in that's Class A and B situation. Class D situation is there's plenty of people with needs on social programs. I do not really care for government programs because it's all based on people saving money. So they have to have some incentive to save money. So that's one way of doing it. The other one is, of course, rental arbitrage is a great way. You hear me talking about that all the time. I can't find a way to beat that from a cash flow standpoint. And that's essentially renting a place from someone, a regular landlord, with the understanding that you're going to sublet it and furnishing it, placing someone in there and furnish housing there. So this is a really big topic you hit on, where to start if you don't have rentals. There's many ways of getting down to it. Begin if you have the niche client or the group identified, and then you have your own network of people. that puts you in a command position. It's just a matter of putting together a short one pager business plan, showing someone how the money flows, and giving someone to invest in it. Either they're going to keep their money in the bank, or they're going to see that you have the opportunity and you know the numbers and you have the relationship, and that makes a super easy decision for them. Here, ask me a follow-up question to clarify that. What are the disadvantages? My wife thought that. Oh, your mic's back on, Eunice. You got a follow-up question for me? Let's see if we can find some
Yes, it's
steps for you.
about the rental arbitrage.
Yeah,
Is there a certain way you can convince somebody to sublet their house to you?
there is, and I think I think you already got my course, didn't you, on that? I think I came up with a module. Didn't you pick up Airbnb for landlords? I thought you did. But anyway, I have the details for it in that, so I don't really want to get into I'll check to see, and I'll send you that module again. I try to keep that. Those are kind of the gated questions, if you can follow me. But in general, is a discussion with the owner. There's many ways. It's got to be in their best interest, if they see it in their best interest, and that could be from money or relationship or addressing one of their problems, and you persuade them to do that. You can imagine even someone who's having a hard time selling their house and they're under financial stress. That's an opportunity right there. If their house has been on the market for a while and they can't move it and they're carrying it, that mortgage keeps going, so they may be willing to open up to your offer. But again, you want to have your target area so that you don't want to do rental arbitrage just anywhere. You want to pick it in a hot spot. So, but that's definitely, right now in the way the real estate market is really or seller's market right now, it is tough to, at least in many of the bigger cities in the United States, to pick up something that's cash flowing that makes sense. So that's why I'm on the sideline. It's hard, but rental arbitrage gives you definitely a way in to that. The disadvantages of niche rentals is that getting started. That's the thing. How do you do it? And I'm going to be writing more about that. I'm actually going to be, I was telling my wife, I got to go to some bars, honey. I got to talk to some bartenders because they know who's coming to town and who's hanging out there. They see the trends and things like that. So I'm actually going to do that and document how that goes and see if I can open up some other niches for myself. Right now I have the traveling nurse thing pretty on lockdown, so I have that going well. But I want two other groups, so I'm actually starting from scratch. And well, I got relationships I'll be building on, but be getting the word out, and I'm be I'm gonna be hanging out the bar, at least trying to get conversations going with people in different hotels, their front desk, to get them talking. I think I can show up later on night after the rush, get them talking about who's coming to their. Again, I like extended stays. I like these 30 days and more. That doesn't wear me out. Oh, I got something in the chat box. Let me look at this. The chat box says, okay, perfect. Let's see. It says, hey, Al, I'm going to read it to everyone. Hey, Al, I got a beautiful one-bed guest cottage in the back of my property, wooded. Nice. And it's 15 minutes from the nearest big town. Nice. We are out in the woods, though, sort of remote. Would there be a market for this type of property? I get this great question. Thank you for that. I get this all the time when I have my webinars for Airbnb. And I always say that Airbnb is the the smartest and the most powerful marketing tool on earth. So if you write some good sales copy, you will rent it out. And you can romance the heck out of that for people who need to get away to even focus on a report. There's different writers and people with deadlines that need solitude. And it sounds like a romantic place if it's out in the woods and it's quiet out there, or the different strong points. You really, really bring up your strong points and make the people. It sounds like it's a short getaway. It's a short getaway, so that makes it really nice for people who are in town who may need to decompress. So there's all kinds of ways of writing that type of ad so you stand out against the people that you're competing against. So if I had let's play this. If I had a place like that, I would be taking some detailed pictures of the rustic parts of it, romancing that, talking about the different sounds and the sights and the feel of branches crunching under my feet, and talking about how you can get unplug. The whole unplug movement is something that you can really get into, and that will really shine. How about that? Am I going in the right direction? It sounds like a like you have like a nearly an oil well in your backyard. You just that's what I do. I help people tap into their backyard, so the resources that they have right on their property or that they own. Thank you for that question. Keep asking me things and tell me if you want me to keep going on with that. So that sounds like a great property for Airbnb or short-term rentals, vacation rentals, for people getting away, or artist retreat and things like that. Well, let me take another question here from my wife. She says, so what's the profit difference from a niche rental versus a regular rental? And that's a big question. So again, it all flies into what neighborhood you're in. So you can do different neighborhoods, different niches in different neighborhoods, and that's what's pretty amazing. So let's say let's do extremes. Let's do a D neighborhood, a crime-filled neighborhood. If I had a rental there, I would follow the process of the whole building wealth with inner city rentals of start off by keeping the neighborhood clean, or at least the block. I call it your front being directly in front of your property, keeping it immaculate, and also on each side of your property, so neighbors on both sides, you make sure they stay clean, and directly across the street if you're in a suburb type of situation. And if it's a small street, you want directly across the 3 properties directly across. So that's your front line. And by maintaining that, or making sure that it gets maintained, the owners of those properties start to take note, because you're actually doing them a favor. And eventually they will appreciate it and comment. And you comment that I know you would do the same for me. And you build that. There's a lot of reciprocation, and they start to, you're almost eventually shaming them into taking care of their own property better, or policing the trash in front of their place. This is in Class D, and then it gives you more opportunities that relationship is in place to do things such as associations would do, like maintain yards with one landscaper. So everyone's lawn gets mowed at a discounted price, snow removal, all kinds of different things. You build up that relationship where you can actually monetize it, as far as reducing your personal expenses if you need services, even from window screen replacements, just making sure giving everyone an opportunity to get it done at the same time. And it keeps going from there. That opens up to attracting better, more honorable tenants who want that. and that increased demand leads to you being more selective and higher rents, and it becomes a big magnet, and also repulses people who want to do petty crime. So that happens as well, and that's one way of creating that type of niche of gathering people who want that type of clean neighborhood, who want that type of safety that goes with it, with a low income but yet very tight knit community. So that's one type of niche for the very, very low end Class D neighborhood. Now on the Class A neighborhoods, of course, corporate housing is the most lucrative thing you can do. I would drop a BMW in the garage of the smallest house I could find and rent the whole thing, the car, the apartment, and the cleaning service, monetize the whole thing, because that person coming has a car allowance. They usually fly in and rent a car, so they have a reimbursed for that. And also for their housing, they just want more privacy. Again, staying 30 days in a hotel or longer just wears you out. Even trucks, there's a lot of, like I was in construction, a truck was very nice to have. So an upgrade there, especially if your employer is covering that. Keep questions coming. Oh, I got some more here. Let's see here. Do you think it would be marketable as a long-term rental? Yes, you can market it as a long-term rental. However, that's going to be the least profitable thing you can do. Absolutely. The person for the long term is going to be completely different than the person for the short term. Completely different. So you got to think about who you want. If you want, it really ranges. You know it best, but your area, I can only imagine who's going to be the long term is going to be there. But it's definitely an opportunity to make 3-5 times more net income wise as a short term rental with it well branded, like the Bamboo Inn that I stayed in. They just had their branding and their sales copy together, and he was making $100 a night. So you'd be passing, if you do a long term, you are passing up an opportunity to significantly, if you have a W-2 income, you're offering an opportunity to replace that income. You are passing that up. Let's see, you got another question for me here that says, I think it would be market successful as a short-term rental, but was thinking of trying to go long-term. Yeah, long-term could work. Go long-term. Thank you for questions. Let's see. I'll have a 4-bed room, 3-bath in a Class B neighborhood. I was thinking of trying to rent to teachers. What do you think? So absolutely, if you're going for teachers, there's so many different pockets. Now we're talking for niche rentals. There's Teach for America, and there's all kinds of groups of teachers that come in on stipends, that depending on what your neighborhood is. So clustering them together will by creating a spot for them, that will double your net income. So there's a number of really cool teaching programs and beginning teachers and all kinds of incentives for teachers that bring people to town. So that's an amazing opportunity to get them to co-house, and you can see by clustering teachers together, they help each other on disciplinary strategies and all kinds of brainstorming. So it is definitely a great way of going. And of course, you can do standard, but I'm mostly interested in getting your net income. I want to double it, at least at minimum. If you can compete against everyone else, that the market pressures keep your prices, keep your rents down, if that makes any sense, because you have to benchmark yourself against everyone else who has a 3-bed, 2-bath in a Class B. That is your ceiling, and you have the opportunity to play in a different arena altogether that doesn't have the same ceiling, that has a ceiling that's quite a bit higher, and all the way up to unlimited with, for example, the house in the wooded area. Depending on what you have in there, it becomes really based on the flow of cash that you can get for that, as far as renting on the weekends or renting it 30 days or more. There's all kinds of options of how much you can make there. Let's see, three bed, two bath. There's people by default that go into the long-term Craigslist mode for a little extra work and identifying a niche of people that you can serve. You can easily double, triple that net income wise, and that means you can pay your mortgage off 3 times faster. It also means that you can significantly improve your personal lifestyle with that once you get up and going. So it's definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Thank you for the questions. Keep the questions coming. Let's see here. You got me another one here. Thank you. Let's see. The question is, so the teacher's going good. Are costs for short-term rentals higher? Utilities included, housekeeping, lawn care. Well, you do have, so the costs are higher, but we're really only question, let me rephrase it. If your net income goes up, it doesn't really matter what your costs are. If you can, on a net income basis, if you can double, triple your net income, it really doesn't matter what your costs are. If you follow my line of thinking there, because your income is not capped. So that's what's different about this type of housing, the niche housing. If you provide an all-inclusive experience for them with lawn care and everything, then you have to pass those costs along, and it's reasonable to expect that you're making a 10% profit on every service that you pass along. So that's just the way we do it. And the more services you provide, the better. The more profit you'll make. So that's what's going on. Here's an example. I took a folding bike over to one of my corporate tenants yesterday. I have the medical center in my area. The medical school, the regents of the University of California, rent one of my bedrooms, one of my apartment units, and I was providing bicycles for them, but that was causing people to want to jump our fence and steal our bikes. So it's like an attractive nuisance. So I cleared it all out. And bike theft happens everywhere here in California, even on university campuses and whatever. So don't take that the wrong way. It's still a great neighborhood and super safe area, but there's just people who like stealing bikes. So I got rid of all my bikes, and I was thinking about a bicycle locker, and I realized that it's easier to buy a folding bicycle, a lightweight folding bicycle that's highly adjustable, kind of solves the solution better for this particular setup. But again, I mark up. It's 40. I charge them an extra $40 a month for this bike. So this $200 bicycle pays for itself in with 5 months, and just profit rolls after that. So I am not concerned. Whatever they need, I'm marking up on it. Hope I'm helping. Is this helpful at all? I hope I'm helping you. Let me share with you guys what I'm working on right now. I have a friend who's a photographer, and I went over there for some. Oh, great. She said, yes, this is helpful. I went over for some headshots because I got some talks coming up. I'm going to be doing some public speaking. Isn't that amazing for a guy who stutters like me? I'm going to be doing some public speaking, and I got to get some headshots together. And I was like, Kyrie, I didn't know you had a full studio here. He's like, yeah, because he works full time as a doing some education work, helping out troubled kids with autism and things like that. He works full time. I thought he was a photographer on the side, but he has a full blown studio. So he says that he rents it out um, to other photographers who are struggling, don't need a studio. And through talking with him, and just there's a huge market of broke photographers, and you need clients. They come in, they just need the studio for a little bit. He charges them like $35 an hour. And I was telling him we need to put this on Airbnb. It's a completely different way of doing business, and have people with a Wi-Fi lock so that he can change the code and rent it out 3 or 4 times a day while he's at school. Because these photographers' shoots are like a couple hours, and people can straighten it up, or he's comfortable with the Wi-Fi camera, so he can see who's damaging whatever, if they damage things. But yeah, 3 times a day, that's $100 a day. Easy. And just keep people, on weekends, of course, there's more, but it can easily average 3 times a day easily. So he's sitting on $100 a day asset that he pays $600. He rents it for $600. He has his lights in it. So this is a completely different way, a niche that he's in, the community that he's in, that he can completely monetize by using the technology of Airbnb to book it and to handle all those processes. You guys following what I'm saying? So there's plenty of things that you're in your own lives that you're involved in different groups that have different needs that you know of, but you may be a little too close to realize that you can set up a rental property, even if it's a commercial, underused, small spot. You can completely kiosk it and put a smart lock on it and sublease it out and use a technology such as Airbnb or many other different technologies to monetize it. You follow what I'm saying? You guys with me? So I'm actually going to be documenting that process for him and walking him through it, because a lot of people leave their commercial properties. They're looking for one tenant, one long-term tenant, and they're sitting on the solution for many people who are on demand, different business models, which, you guessed it, is going to be coming on strong. It's going to be coming on strong, just like short-term rentals, but just on a commercial standpoint of view. In fact, you see it already. You see it, people pop up their Halloween businesses, and they pop up Christmas businesses, but it's just going to happen more frequently as the flow goes. So there's a huge opportunity for you guys that are on the line, if you're listening, if you have the ears to hear what I'm saying. You don't have to just stay in the residential market. How do you overcome the fear factor? This is good. I think the cottage in the wood is a good starting place to break out of the traditional landlord thinking in terms of pricing. Do we try to charge less than a hotel? Would it be more, as we're giving them experience rather than just a room? Yeah, that's a great question. That's a wonderful question, because it touches on the very core of this whole, how it feels to unlock a big treasure trove, or to pick the lock on your treasure chest. It is scary to pick a lock. It is scary. And, that's why I like Les Brown was saying. He says that if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. He says if you cannot grow, then you can't be the best, your best. And if you can't be your best, then you can't really be happy. So I always remind myself about that you got to take a risk if you really want to live this abundant life. You got to take this risk. It was a risk for me to even claim that I was financially free and could leave my engineering job. That was a risk. Something I wanted, but it was scary as all get out. So if you understand, I do understand that fear of it. And, I spend probably an hour or so every day coaching landlords through that process of going short-term rentals, So I re-experience it through the eyes of other landlords all the time, of how it feels, and even how it feels when your place isn't booked up until it's booked up, and then you're scared. So that's a part of building wealth. If you want to compress time and take a big step up in your wealth building, it requires you to take a risk, and a calculated one. So there's all kinds of ways of easing into that. And yeah, that's what I specialize in. But let me answer your question more directly. Is Well, that's how you overcome the fear factor. You just look at the lion, and you roar back at it. And even though you're scared, you keep moving forward. And if you have the commitment, I'm a coach that can get you through that. So that's one way of making sure that you're going to get there. It's like buying an airplane ticket. You can make sure you get there. So that's one thing. But yeah, breaking out of the traditional landlord mode is scary. But the traditional landlord mode is not safe because you don't make that much money, and things break all the time, and you're not making any money, hardly any money when it comes down to it, until your mortgage is paid off, and then you can really make some more money. But the way I look at things is that it's much safer doing a short-term rental and getting paid more frequently, making 3-4 times the amount of income, and having plenty of money in reserve so that if something goes wrong, I could call someone to fix it for me. It's much safer than the traditional landlord route from my standpoint of view. Now, so the pricing part of it is, yeah, so you start by saying you are in the hospitality industry. You're benchmarking that, and then you build up your reviews, and also you get to know what people like and dislike about your place, and you focus on strengthening what they like, and so you're adding value to your property that way, experience-wise. I'm not saying adding value from a property appraiser-wise, but you're adding value to that experience from a user standpoint of view, and they're willing to pay you. They'll easily pay you more. So that's how that goes. But you got to build up reviews, and also your I guess how intelligent you are about using your property. That takes experience to get that. Let's see. You're right about the money. we are mortgage free. That's awesome. But still not pulling in the money that I think we should. Yeah. Traditional landlording is now this is after me battling from 2008 to 2015 where I was able to generate enough side income, ancillary income to pay my mortgage. So it became a non-issue. And then I was able to, my eyes were opening from there that traditional landlording is it is passive, and there's other things you need to do with your life, yes, but it's the worst way. They've been doing traditional landlording since baby Jesus was in the crib. We have some more powerful things to do. We don't need to roll around in a horse and buggy anymore. We can take an airplane, and you can't keep taking small steps. Sometimes you just need to trash this old way of doing things. Traditional landlording works, absolutely. Just like a horse and buggy works. It'll get you there, absolutely. But we have airplanes now. I like to say that you can drive an airplane across the country. You can just use a propeller, drive it like a car all the way across the country. Or you can use it to its full potential, and actually fly it. So we definitely make an option whether we're going to fly our rental properties or if we're going to drive them. So it's a decision that you make. Okay, Keep the questions coming. I love them. Makes a lot of fun. Let's see. I got another question here. If I was offering a cottage through Airbnb, do we need to pay hotel taxes to our city? So that question is, if your city has that ordinance, then absolutely you do. And Airbnb is kind of rolling out a program and negotiating with cities so that they actually pay the cities to enforce those things. So cities don't. It's kind of like cities don't. They say they want to collect taxes, the level the playing field, but yet they're under resourced. So Airbnb is funding a staff member to reinforce that the collection. So that's coming out. And you see that in San Francisco and New York is rolling out, and it'll probably roll out nationwide to make short-term rentals legal everywhere and make it more mainstream than it is now. So count on paying taxes if you are doing stays less than 30 days. So that's one reason why I focus on 30 days or more, but that might not be an option for you. But just go ahead and pay the taxes, and you just kind of lump them in. Hotels pay the taxes, and they're still in business, so don't worry about that. It's going to be seamless for you because it'll be just Airbnb will take care of all that. So there are all kinds of different options for you on that, and there's all kinds of loopholes. But I don't want to talk to you about those. I want to talk to you about ways to just keep it simple for yourself. Don't worry about taxes. It's going to be, you shouldn't try to avoid them. If once you find a niche, for example, you may be close to a niche where people like to stay for a month at a time, or 15 to 45 days at a time, based on some training program that you may not know about. It's just impossible to know who's going to come to your place until you put a listing up on Airbnb. I'm always surprised at what comes. It's like once you put your listing up, it's like you put on a different color lenses, and all of a sudden you can see things that you couldn't see before, and you'll be discovered by people that could never see you before. So it's like a second universe that you won't know about until you put a listing up. Let me tell you my definition of niche rentals. I thought someone would ask me that. And I say, well, what is a niche rental? I say it's a commercial/residential property that serves a particular group of people in a customized way so that group is delighted and fiercely loyal to the owner. And that's kind of my definition of niche rental. And once you create a whole community around your rental property, it's a whole new world. You will find yourself in so much demand that you're going to have to get another rental property and to service your demand. So it's a completely different way of expanding your business. And if you have so much demand, then you're going to have plenty of people willing to loan you money or to invest with you or whatever it is. So it's as if there's a oil geyser going off in your backyard. You are no longer concerned about where you're going to get the money because anyone's going to come and fund you. So the issue is finding the niche. That's the issue. And how do you work your network? And there's all kinds of tools to help you with that. There's all kinds of ways of using LinkedIn, or even doing what I'm doing for those lower tech is heading to the bar, talking to the bartenders or the waitresses or at whoever you want to poach their clientele from. So it is doing that. Again, you'll be facing fear of even, if you're a shy person, it's kind of exciting, but you do have to get over outside of your comfort zone. because that is where the opportunities are. You don't want to let your comfort zone be like a prison for you. Wouldn't it be sad to sit inside of a prison when the door's wide open? Wouldn't that be a tragic thing to do? Why didn't you leave the prison if the door's wide open? That's what the image that comes in my head when I'm thinking about doing something new or stretching myself. I gotta leave my prison and get out and see if this works. Okay. Well, I hope that helped everybody. I was trying to keep the questions coming for me, or you can always email me. You guys have my email address. But it was great being with all of you. I'm gonna be trying to do a group call like once a month with different team members. But if you want additional help, you can besides emailing me, or if you want me to coach you through anything, you can pick up one of my courses, and that kind of puts me on your team. That's one way of doing it. There is niche rentals is going on until it's open for enrollment until Thursday. And to get there is leadinglandlord.com/niche rentals. You can pick up one of those courses there, and they have different sizes for you. And if you're just interested in Airbnb and transitioning onto just Airbnb, then you can't, and rental arbitrage and all those things like that, then airbnblandlord.com is the way to go for that. Also, the rentalpreneur part of niche rentals is an expanded version of Airbnb for landlords. So that's actually you get more if you go to niche rentals route. Okay. So if you have any questions, go ahead and email me. It's always fun to talk to you. It's great answering your questions. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much. And I will talk to you guys next time.